Hello and welcome to week 18 of the Advanced Half Distance Training Plan from Scientific Triathlon. I hope you're doing well and that training is going well, that you enjoyed getting into race specificity this past weekend, and that you're ready to continue doing that for the next few weeks until we head into taper and then the race itself, which is getting closer. So, volume this week is up at 17 hours nominally, with a range from 15 hours 10 to 18 hours 30, depending on optional and adjustable workouts. This week will definitely be probably one of the peak weeks of training load, training stress you've experienced so far in the plan, and it will require quite a bit of discipline and focus, and also mentally, and you will need to be on it. You will need to be motivated, and you might need to do a lot of logistical planning and prioritization even. For example, you need to make sure that you don't sacrifice sleep or good nutrition habits. You need to be able to get those in, and if that means that you need to cut out on something else that you maybe do have the possibility to cut out, not things like work and family obligations, of course, but other things, then you might want to consider doing that, because really these next few weeks we are going to be really trying to move the needle with the race specific work and getting you ready to be in peak fitness on the starting line of your race very, very soon. So I just want to talk a little bit about the kind of this block of training and the principles underlying it and why the plan is designed the way it is. So essentially what we have been doing is that through your training blocks earlier in the plan, where you focused on aerobic capacity, you have built a speed support that allows you to work at race pace and it being far below your maximum capacity. And then in other workouts, like in the strength and stamina block and in the general endurance work, you have built an endurance support that allows you to go at a moderate pace for long durations. And even when tired, you can do so. And now the race-specific block of training is about bridging the gap between the speed and endurance supports, and getting to that race-specific pace, race-specific power, and do this work and progressively do more and more of it leading into the race, or do it at a more and more demanding level. And of course, there will be a taper before racing, and that's to freshen up and not be tired on the start line. But generally speaking, we'll gradually do more and more demanding race pace work. Of course, we keep doing a little bit of the support work, especially the endurance support, and we do the endurance support in this block a lot in the form of tempo work, so basically extending the duration for which you can hold race pace rather than focusing on the intense side of things or the speed support side of things. But we do a little bit of speed support through the block, and especially bringing it back in the taper period. In terms of key workouts this week, we have a race pace swim on Tuesday, and all these race pace workouts will be very simple and very effective. Nothing fancy about them. As it says here, the goal is to quickly find your best sustainable pace for the workout and for the distance, and stick to that pace, even when it starts to hurt really badly, which it will. So, as always in these swims, we have a takeout speed effort at first, and then we just get into 6 times 300 at race pace. And we include sightings, and we include, after the last repetition, a T1 simulation, and this swim is designed to be done in your wetsuit if you can, if your pool allows it. If not, then that's okay, but if you can, then that's really, really recommended. The aerobic development bike you have done many times before, so I won't go into detail on that, but just bear in mind that you can switch it around a little bit. The main goal is here just to get in a good amount of work in zone 2, quite a bit in high zone 2 or mid zone 2, and then some work in zone 3, but it doesn't have to be high zone 3 or anything, but get in 30 minutes of work there. And then we have a tempo run, so an endurance support for race pace for many, although for some of you it may actually be close to race pace itself, so, or overlapping with race pace. So basically what we do in these blocks is to do 2 times 20 minutes, but where the first 3 minutes start fast, so they start at threshold pace or close to threshold pace, and then settling in for 17 minutes at more of a tempo pace, which should be comfortably uncomfortable, not uncomfortably comfortable. comfortably uncomfortable is what I should say, and or even like more emphasis on the comfortably, but a little bit of uncomfortable. You need to focus there. You need to focus to keep that pace, but you shouldn't be hurting. That's kind of the RPE that you want to be feeling in this kind of run. And of course, don't forget the strides as always. These are biomechanically, neuromuscularly super important and super developmental to include. Saturday is a key day in this week where we really work on race specificity with a bike and a run off the bike. And the bike contains 30 plus 25 plus 20 plus 15. That is, let me do the math here. This is 1 hour 30 minutes. I should have done that before, but there you got to see the slowness of my the math in my head. 1 hour 30 minutes of race pace work, so that's quite a bit considering some of you may be doing the bike in the low kind of like, let's say 2 hours 10 or something, might be realistic depending on this course. Some might be even faster, but most will be more like slower than that for sure, but still fast, still in the 2 hour something range. So we're already at more than half of the race distance, and you should hold a realistic target race power, whatever that is for you. The range is not broad but not narrow, 80 to 87% of FTP. There is no one number that you should hold. You need to find your best realistic target race power within this range, or even slightly outside it if that's you. Probably not higher than that, except for if your FTP is actually underestimated, which might be the case by now because it's been a while since we tested. So rely on listen to your body as well and adjust within that. But for some of you, maybe, and especially if you're doing like a hard course, which will take you a long time to finish, then even 80% might be a little bit on the high side, so 79, 78. But whatever it is, you need to find it. You need to get feedback from your body, how it's feeling, how it's going, and listen to that. And just at the end of the day, sit down and analyze, well, how did it go? Did I manage to do the last 15 minutes and it not be absolutely killing me? If so, then that's a good sign. And you can probably maybe keep that as your target race pace for the next workout as well. But if you had to absolutely smash yourself silly to get through that last 15 minutes, then this is probably a bit too hard to be your race pace or race power. So then you might need to adjust a little bit next time. And that's what these workouts are for. They're for actually finding your race power. There is no formula to calculate your race power. It's only about practicing it in training and getting a feel for what is realistic. Also, you really need to, at this point, practice with your race gear and equipment. And I would highly recommend doing this right out on the road to also practice translating power into speed, which is super important. And if possible, try to simulate the race course in terms of terrain and even weather if possible. More important than anything, make sure that you practice your race nutrition and hydration strategy throughout this ride, no less than what you'll have on race day. If you are aiming for up towards 90 grams of carbohydrate per hour on race day, then you should be practicing that now in training as well. And I would say that for most, being in that 60 to 90 grams of carbohydrate per hour would be the range that I would recommend. And in terms of hydration, whatever it is that you're planning on doing, maybe you're planning on using sports drink, or maybe you're just planning on using water and electrolytes, but you should be planning that, or you should be planning that already and practicing that in training, and then iterating if there is something that doesn't seem to be working for you. So this is super important, and using, I think I said it already, your race gear. Like if you haven't practiced with your disc wheel in a while, and if you're going to race on a disc wheel, then put it on. Time to start practicing it. Same thing with race helmet. And then we have a brick run off of it. And 7.3 race pace is challenging, but it's not super hard. So this one should be doable, but it will definitely be a good stimulus for you. With 4 times 6 minutes off the bike at 7.3 race pace, with 2 minutes very easy recovery, and it can include walking, because 4 times 6 minutes, especially for the faster ones, it can be quite intense. So yeah, don't hesitate if you want that little bit of walking in the recoveries as well. That's absolutely fine to do. And then just a normal endurance ride on Sunday. So yeah, just a final reminder here. do practice all aspects of specificity, not just the workout prescriptions in terms of pace and power, but in terms of equipment, like using the wetsuit on Tuesday, using your race gear in the Saturday bike and on the Saturday run as well. The only thing I would say is that you may, if you want to, if you're going to race in carbon fiber shoes on race day, I wouldn't say that you have to use them in training now, because I realize that they are expensive and you don't want to wear them out before the race. So that's fine. You can use any other pair of running shoes. But if you're planning to run sockless, then you should run sockless in this workout and so on. And use the tri suit and everything. All those sorts of things you can and should try to make quite specific, I feel. The sockless one, okay, I need to take a step back here, because for some of you, you may be somebody who know that I'm going to run sockless on race day, but I know that that's going to give me blisters, and it's fine because I'm going to take a week of recovery after the race, so it's not a problem. But I don't want to be doing it in training. That's a good reason to not do the practice runs sockless. So that's fine if you want to do that. So I want to have that little caveat in there. But other than that, a lot of specificity, and again, not just about the power and pace profiles of the workouts, but what you're doing, where you're doing things, and so on. All right, but I hope you have a good week, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again next week.